Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Super Lunch Bros Podcast, episode number 118. I am Brendan. We're going to go over Bellator 278, Velasquez versus Carmouche, the Bellator Flyweight Championship, I think it was. Yeah, Flyweight. The Flyweight Championship that took place in Hawaii, super late. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a couple other things on this card, but this video is going to be super short. This is one of 3 events for this weekend that I will be covering, making videos for, so I am going to just cover some of the highlights, probably the last 4 fights. I did watch more than the last 4 fights, but nothing really stood out to me as crazy. Anyway, please, before we get started, take 2 seconds, go down, click the subscribe button. If you like MMA, if you like podcasts talking about MMA, that's all I do here. Pretty much that's what I talk about nonstop. I put at least one of these out every single week, sometimes more, especially lately. I cover UFC, Bellator, and Eagle FC, some ONE FC, that kind of stuff. Anyway, all right, moving on. Let's get going here. Also, if you do like the video, please press the like button. Okay, main event. Liz Carmouche taking on Juliana Velasquez. I mean, it was actually a really good fight, high skill level, I would say. Liz Carmouche getting the TKO victory at 4:47 of round number 4 due to elbows while in the crucifix position. So there is some controversy over this. We don't have to. Yeah, let's talk about round by round and then a little bit. So I thought it was crazy to me how competitive Liz Carmouche has been for the last 14 years, I think it is. Yeah, let's go look at her stats. I pulled this up. 2010. Okay, so not 14, but 12 years. For the last 12 years, she's been very competitive. At least for the past 10 years, it's been at the very highest level, or highest levels, if you want to say that. You know, Strikeforce, Invicta, UFC, and now Bellator. She's as skilled as anybody in the flyweight division, and her longevity is unquestionable. Okay, I don't think necessarily she's beating Valentina or anything like that, but you don't have to. She's fighting in Bellator. So anyway, Liz was wading in and landing big looping hooks a few times. Juliana was kind of content to slowly move backwards during this first round and try to counter-strike. I don't think the first round worked well for Juliana. I think, you could tell that she was probably a better, maybe a better, crisper striker with more skills, but she was trying to play the counter-strike game and land big punches. The thing is, she didn't land that many. I don't think she landed any real significant punches in that first round, anything crazy. And Carmouche was able to just overwhelm her with volume, right? Winning that first round 10-9, I had it for Carmouche. So then Juliana dropped Liz early in that second round with a big left hand, which was, right at the beginning of that second round. And then the rest of the second round, Carmouche kind of pressured her. She actually did a foot stomp and did real damage with a foot stomp. She actually split open her toe. Her toe started bleeding, which I saw, which was interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen damage like that from a foot stomp. So maybe they do work. I mean, we all hate them, but whatever. Anyway, second round was close because of all the grappling exchanges, but I don't think Liz Carmouche did a ton of damage, and definitely nothing as significant as what Juliana did, knocking her down early in that round. So I had it 19-19 going into the third. Juliana was now moving forward, landing the bigger shots. Bigger shots up top. So she wasn't head hunting necessarily. She was going to the body once in a while, but she definitely was landing more often to the head than Liz Carmouche was. Liz Carmouche was going after the legs primarily, trying to keep at a safe distance. You could tell she wasn't necessarily gun shy, but she wasn't wanting to wade in there anymore and get caught by any of those big punches. A couple of those punches did land. But, and then Liz landed a takedown, didn't really get any damage from it. So, this third round, again, was kind of close as far as overall look of the round, but I still think damage went to Juliana. All right, so end of the third round, I had a 29-28 for Juliana, the the champion, right, the incumbent. The fourth round. So this was another really close round with Juliana landing a few big shots. I think Liz finally did enough to overwhelm her, and then she gets the takedown. She gets into the crucifix position, and she starts landing elbows. Now, before I break down where I stand on the matter, I want to say I am super happy for Liz Carmouche to finally get a victory in a championship fight in a major organization. This is a huge moment for her. This is awesome, super exciting. I'm very happy that she got the win. Yeah, for her for getting the win. Now, let's talk about Mike Beltran making this decision to stop the fight when he did. So, there were 13 seconds left in the round, okay, at the time of stoppage. All right, so to put this into context, about 30 seconds before this, she had been working towards that crucifix position and then started landing blows about 15 seconds before the stoppage, maybe 20. So, with 13 seconds left, this was not a stoppage, 2 seconds beforehand or anything else. This was none of those shots. So Big John McCarthy was very upset about the stoppage because he said none of those shots were fight-ending shots, and this was a championship fight, so you got to let the champ work. I don't disagree with that sentiment, okay? I've seen fights stopped like the Dominic Cruz, Henry Cejudo one, the TJ Dillashaw, Henry Cejudo one. I've seen plenty of fights stopped when they shouldn't have been when they were stopped, right? Early stoppages are a huge problem in MMA. Late stoppages are bad for the fighters. Early stoppages are bad for everybody, right? Late stoppage is bad for that fighter. Early stoppage is bad for everyone because the person who wins has a controversial win for that, and a lot of these are going to go away, right? A year from now, no one's going to remember this shit. Everybody's going to be like, Liz Carmouche was the champ. Remember, she won that fight, whatever. No, like, she's got a W next to her name, and I hate how short-term our memory is in MMA as fans. I think it does a real detriment to the it doesn't do a detriment to each fighter's history. I think what it does is we tend to look at the past with rose-colored glasses depending on where we're making our argument, right? So if you're making a GOAT argument where a lot of this stuff comes up, you'll be like, oh, yeah, Khabib was undefeated. Well, he had a fight where he should have lost, and then he didn't take on the biggest the challenges at the time, and he, in fact, avoided some of the bigger challenges in the division and managed to get by. And then he left still relatively young without challenging a lot of the people coming up. So, the detractors have something to say now. So, like, that's the only time that we're going to talk about, like, these split decisions. But usually, as far as, like, the pundits on ESPN or any other sports network, all they're going to do is talk about how, oh, this fighter has this many wins, blah, blah, blah. Because they're not going to do in-depth research or give a shit. Like, they're going to look at the Wikipedia page and be like, oh, they got 6 wins, cool beans. All right. With all that context and, like the historical implications and those kinds of things out of the way, I don't hate the stoppage. All right. And, again, I'm a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan. I like Liz Carmouche. I think Juliana Velasquez has a lot of future in a long future in this division. Well, she's only 3 years younger than Carmouche, though, so maybe she doesn't. But she was 12-1. She was undefeated before this. So here's the deal. I've talked about this before, and there's been discussions about this before. Should a fight be stopped if there's no fight-ending punches being thrown or landing? So here's the thing. These elbows were landing. They weren't fight-ending, but she couldn't defend herself because she was stuck in a crucifix. Many fights have been stopped via crucifix from pity-pat shots because you can't defend yourself. If you can't get out of that position and you're just taking damage, guess what? Those are the rules. You can't intelligently defend yourself, therefore the fight is over. Now, we might not like it as fans because we can say, oh, those weren't fight-ending, like that wasn't doing damage. Guess what? Submission attempts are the same thing. right? They're not doing like demonstrable damage. They're not doing outstanding, like they're not knocking people out necessarily. But when you put enough pressure on a joint and they can't intelligently defend themselves anymore, oh well, fight's over. Or if someone gets injured, oh well, fight's over. So that's where I kind of stand on this one. I don't think it was a horrible stoppage. I think if it had gone the rest of the round, I think it would have been fine. Or even a little bit longer. Maybe because Carmouche was saying, hey, if he let that go any longer, she wasn't doing the right things to get out of the crucifix position, and I was just going to lay down more damage. So, you want to take her word for it. I mean, she's the one benefiting from the decision, so I don't want to necessarily just take her side. But that being said, she was in a dominant position. Juliana was not able to get out of it. She was not defending herself intelligently. Taking punches to the face and kicking your feet is not intelligently defending yourself. It's okay to make a stoppage like that. It's not necessarily right or wrong. It's okay to do that. It's at the referee's discretion, and he saw fit to end the fight there. It is what it is. Okay? They can run this back, and they can do that again. But if someone's caught in a crucifix position and not defending themselves, it doesn't matter how hard the shots are. Damage does not matter anymore because rules for finishing a fight are you must intelligently defend yourself. I think this is less egregious than when fighters turtle up and move back and forth when a lot of the blows are bouncing off of elbows, forearms, shoulders, hitting the ground. I've seen fights get stopped because the guy on top is just throwing out lots of volume, even if nothing's landing. I think that's more egregious than this because, yeah, the person might not be working for a better position at the moment, but they're intelligently defending themselves by moving back and forth, avoiding the punches. In a crucifix position, all you can do is turn your head a little bit because your arms are splayed out and you have to get an arm back or wrap your legs around their body and try to adjust to a different position. She didn't do either one of those things, and maybe she was working towards it and she didn't have the opportunity, right? That's where the time comes in. But how many shots? She took like 7 unanswered shots, not fight-ending ones, but 7 unanswered shots. How many would you say is enough? Is it 10, 20, 30? Never? I don't think Mike Beltran did a bad job here. I think he went by the letter of the law as far as making a stoppage. I think he could have let it go as well, and I wouldn't complain about that either, right? But I don't think this is a robbery. I don't think, she can get up and complain and bitch and moan all she wants. It doesn't matter. In the moment, and when you had the opportunity to work to a better position and intelligently defend yourself, you didn't do it. You took 15 seconds worth of damage while you weren't defending yourself. It doesn't, like I said, kicking your feet and turning your head and taking punches to the face is not intelligent defense. It's just not. So, congratulations to Liz Carmouche. I'm not going to sit here and say that I thought it was the best stoppage in the world, nor am I going to sit here and say it was a robbery to give, Carmouche the victory for putting someone in a crucifix and landing unanswered shots. Okay? If I was a huge Juliana fan, would I be happy right now? Probably not. I'd probably be pretty pissed off. If I was her, I'd also be pissed off. That's okay, right? It's okay to be upset. But you have to understand that the decision that he made was not the wrong one. It wasn't the only one, but it was not the wrong one. Okay? There are plenty of other decisions he could have made right there that would have been way worse. Anyway, it was up until that though. You watch the three rounds, the 4 rounds. They're fun. It was a great fight, highly skilled, lots of variety going on here. Carmouche has improved in her striking. I still don't think she's at the level that she necessarily should be, especially being a flyweight champion. But she's incredibly strong. She's a great grappler, and she's durable as hell. So it's worked out for her. I'm happy for her. Yeah, awesome. All right, let's talk about another fight on this card. Enrique Barzola versus Nikita Mikhailov. Oh, no, it's Mikhailov. K is silent. Mikhailov. Uh, this fight was utter domination in one direction, in my opinion. Barzola with good damage and had some top control in the first round. Barzola with control, taking the back, looking for rear naked chokes at one point in the second round, and then the third round was more of the same from the second round. So Barzola just smoking this kid. I think he is from whatchamacallit's camp, Fedor's camp. So Fedor has some work to do if he's trying to get some of these guys towards a title shot here. Danny Sabatello versus Jornel Lugo. So Lugo, I think he was making his debut. No, he was not making his debut. I don't know, but he was undefeated. Anyway, Sabatello with grappling and holding him down the whole time in that first round. He was talking shit after the second round, after doing the complete same, like, domination, the same thing. And then the third round was more. He cut a promo that can't be used on public television because he dropped like 6 F-bombs, so that's cool. He fights out of Chicago or whatever. I mean, he's a heavy wrestler, and, he's got 2 good wins back-to-back here. I think I pulled him up. I did. Jornel Lugo and then Brett Johns, really good fighters, actually. And he came from Titan in the Contender Series. Yeah, this dude's really good. I'm guessing he's just boring, and that's why Dana didn't hire him. That'd be my guess. And then the other fight that I looked at was Grant Neal versus Christian Edwards. I mean, I watched the Manny Murrow fight and the other ones, the Weber Almeida one. The earlier fights were actually more exciting than these ones. Grant Neal, Edwards was outlanding and doing more damage, and he won the first round, but Neal started wrestling his way to victory and dominating in the second and the third round. So I don't know what is going on when I turn on these, like when I start deciding to cover, like, okay, I made a decision. I'm like, all right, I'm going to start covering these ones, because what am I supposed to do? Talk about, like, oh, hey, cool leg kick knockout and cool anaconda choke. But, like, for fighters that, don't have a lot of cachet to their name, it's nothing against them. It's just, they got to work their way up. Plus, I have another, like, the thing is, I have another Bellator card to cover. Oh, yeah. That's it. I'm done talking about the fights. Let's talk about the broadcast time, please. I know that this is in Hawaii, but who is this for? Who is this for? Like, the main card starting at 9. I don't know. I guess this is this normal? I don't know. I thought they would start these earlier, but I guess not. And I understand that they're on a different time zone and blah, 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 blah. Whatever. I was really looking forward to, like, Bellator starting a little bit earlier, but it's not. And the same with this one, that's going on tonight. So tonight we got freaking the big Bellator card with Cyborg on it, and we got a UFC card and the Tyson fight already. Actually, if you're watching this, the Tyson fight already took place. So I will be covering that probably tomorrow. So I have to go through and watch all these. So anyway, I appreciate you all for making it this far. If you can toss me a like and a subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I will be covering the other fights. If you're coming here expecting to see all the Bellator from this weekend, it's not. I only cover 278 here. Go to my other video. I have I'll be cover where I cover Cyborg's fight. Same with all the other MMA. They all have their own videos now. I try not to batch them all into one and make one giant 2-hour video that nobody's gonna fucking watch. So I appreciate y'all. I really do. If you're watching this on a Monday or a Sunday or whatever, I hope you're having a great weekend. I hope that you have an awesome week, and love y'all. Enjoy the fights.